Hey, welcome to the Liberal Buzz Show. And we're talking about more issues that have to do with civil rights that no one's talking about. And so that's basically what the shows are about. And this time it's Brent Turner, and cavo-us.org is the website where he voices his issues can be found. And there are issues as well. So this is open source voting system project, and it's also going to be featured on the Axis of Love show this coming Friday, tomorrow on Channel 29, and also following Friday on Channel 29 as well at 6 p.m. Friday. So please check it out. Brent, he's more or less a hero. He's one of those heroes that nobody talks about as much that they might be. See, these are pretty much his ethics. Brent Turner, if you're not wrestling with anger issues, you are likely where my anger is directed. Okay, and so he's pretty mad at the voter machines because the California Secretary of State, Padilla, is pushing to buy more voting systems that are vulnerable to hacking. So I'm just going to put that up there while we go on about, see, the Padilla is, moved towards public voting software systems. They've told him, the scientists, and he's not listening. And this is on the state now, on the local level with Malia Cohen, and we did the best with Malia Cohen, which isn't even that good. Malia Cohen pledged $4 million here in San Francisco. So pretty soon Brent Turner is going to be a guest on my show, but not this month. It'll be next month. So anyway, this is the voting machine. It's a Diebold machine, and he likes to smash those Diebold machines just to get everybody's attention, and so despite a call for open software, San Francisco approves a $30 million contract for Microsoft products. So the project, the open source voting system project, it's for the city and county of San Francisco to develop and certify an open source paper ballot voting system. And actually, paper ballots have backup by being counted electronically as well. That's called the backdoor ballot. The ballots are the front door of the people who were in the machines, and then the ballots. So an open source voting system is a system consisting of open source software running on commercial, off-the-shelf, commodity hardware. So now Diebold is the one we don't like. See Diebold right there at the bottom of the screen right here. That's the brand that runs the Microsoft proprietary software. And Microsoft proprietary software is, just trust us. Trust us to handle your vote counts and be honest with your vote counts. Well, we're saying with open source, trust but verify. Verify. We want to check the codes, and we want to know what we want to be able to crack the codes. And so it's free to anyone inspect, use, make a copy of, and it's public and non-proprietary, Open software is, the operating systems we use, like Firefox. We use the Android system and the Linux operating system. They use open source software. So now the voting software would take a few million to develop it. Yeah, it takes money. And I mean, they've got money for all these other pet projects to redo parks like 4 times for millions and millions of dollars to build the same park over and over. It's just a pet project, really. I mean, I know the park looks nice, but it looked nice before. So anyway, I'm talking about Bodecker. I like Bodecker. It was okay before, and it's nice now. So it's used by open source software is used by successful technology companies You know, whether they're mega companies or small companies. And so it's more affordable, you know, it's transparent. You don't have to pay any licensing fees. I mean, you have to pay licensing fees for your editing software. Here at the studio at Bayvac, we pay licensing fees every month for editing software, so that the people here can edit their videos on the machines here at the studio. So anyway, please give generously to Bayvac, by the way. So bavc.org. And so anyway, in San Francisco, it's free to improve its system without needing vendor permission, you know. So anyone can service the system without having to call the vendor and maybe wait months for him to get there to fix it for you, to get you back into your program, because sometimes you're locked out of the program too. You can't even use it. So the Board of Supervisors supports it, and the Elections Commissions, but the problem is Mark Farrell, the mayor, he's really against having the state pay for it. So, but he's not offering any solution, so he's just, please urge him. I'll tell you at the end what you can do at the end of this. At the end of this show, I'll tell you what you can do. See, the reason why the open source doesn't exist, you know, the SFDCCC likes it. You know, the San Francisco Democratic Party likes it. You know, the Code for America's SF chapter. There's a few techie groups that support open source, but it's just not a popular subject, and no one talks about it enough. I mean, there was I was surprised there was on Channel 5 KPIX. They did talk about open source software, and it was a good story. So it might be on the KPIX website. I didn't catch the whole story, but I don't know. Last time we went to Channel 4 with the story, and they made it into a commercial for why Microsoft should run our election software. You know, because it's insecure. You know, and they're the gatekeepers of all things good. You know, yeah. They're the gatekeepers of the voters' vote. The vote counts. That's what it is. And so in Ohio, they've instituted open source voting. That's on Brent Turner's Facebook timeline. I don't have time to go into that whole story, but it should cost between $6 million spread over 3 years to develop and certify a new system for the software, and the first plus money to deploy the system. And the first 4 years had a price of $13.78 million in 2007 dollars. So yeah, see, paper ballots just aren't enough. Remember Matt Gonzalez election back, I was out of the country then, but those votes ended up in the Bay. And Matt Gonzalez lost the election to Newsom, and yeah, about 15 years ago. And so in July of 2006, the mayor and the Board of Supervisors allocated $300,000 to the Department of Elections for the planning phase to work out the cost and timeline. But, you know, in October in 2017, with the firm Slalom to draft a due report January 2018. So here's where we are. When would the system actually be ready? They had the recommendations in April 2017. But it could be developed and certified within 2 or 3 years once funded. But that's too late for the presidential election, isn't it? Ugh. So, anything can happen in 3 years, huh? So we got the Department of Elections could issue RFPs. Let's see, that's for outside organizations or firms that develop and certify individual system components. But, see, Alex Padilla, like we were saying before, he said publicly in November 2015 that he thought it was quite possibly and very likely that an open source voting system would be certified by his office during his current term. And, you know, he's kind of changed up. In September 2016, he said on TV that open source is the ultimate in transparency and accountability for all. And so our current voting system, the contract ends in San Francisco for the current voting system in 2018, December. So the director of and that, you know, my name was purged off the voter rolls in 2016. So nothing has changed since 2016. I think the Russians hacked it. I do. I think the Russians hacked into the voter rolls and purged a lot of the Democrats off, at least in my precinct. And they did a lot of other election meddling. I have no doubt. I was a witness to a lot of their meddling, and they meddled with my Facebook timeline. I think the Russians are actually working for Facebook. They took a lot of they weren't really pro-Hillary posts, but they were just jokes about how the Hillary mania was like taken too far and how silly it was, and that Hillary's emails were in outer space somewhere. And somebody took down that meme, and it looked like different pixels. So I could tell it wasn't even American, the pixels. So yeah, it was they were tampering with my timeline. And it was, you know, they were either hacking or they worked there at Facebook. And they would do it on Russian time, too. And I even got Russians on Russian time sending me friend requests just to laugh in my face and say, yeah, we're messing with your Facebook. Because also what they were doing was, I didn't have my Facebook set up for anybody to friend me without being a friend of a friend. You know what I'm saying? So they would have had to hack into Facebook, change my settings, and then send me friend requests. That's what I'm saying. And so they're laughing right in I'm not really, I mean, I'd like to get in the ring with Putin. You know, I don't like him. I don't care. I'd like to see Amanda Nunes take him down in the ring. Yeah, that's it. She could. I'm still training for it. So what I'm saying is the Russians really did tamper with Microsoft. Microsoft is easy to hack into. Come on, they hack into our utilities, and it's not just the voting system. They've hacked into all sorts of American. Then they're not just doing it here. It's all over the world. So they're sort of the white trash of Europe. So anyway, I'm sorry for all the nice Russian people, but this Putin is behaving like a thug, you know. And don't worry, we'll get him to pull his head in. He's got to. You know, he's being a jerk. So he makes me really mad. I'm not as mad at Trump. He installed Trump. Trump's just, you know, he's just a sycophant, sociopath, psycho. There's a whole bunch of adjectives for Trump, but he's mentally ill and has the IQ of I don't know, about 80. He's not too bright. So he's easily manipulated, and you know, just by what he watches on TV. But this Putin, yeah, he's out to change our government, and so I'm going to talk about that with Brent on my next show in next month on the Liberal Buzz Show. So I'm looking forward to that. And what we want to do is see a citizen now. Oh, here I had some notes. Won't get to those. To get an open source in San Francisco could cost $11.5 million in 2018 dollars. So that's not in 2007. It's more now. But it would help San Francisco develop the first of its kind voting system to be used elsewhere. So we'll develop it here, and it'll be used elsewhere. And Mark Farrell isn't supporting for state funds, but you know, Malia Cohen is. So yeah, I mentioned her before. Sometimes she gets it. And so the systems run on software, and the bugging of the software is a major vulnerability, you know, regardless of the paper ballot component. So if we're going to defend against outside and possibly inside interference, the software cannot be remained private and secret. That's just a national security issue. And the election software must be what is used by NASA, the Air Force, and the Department of Defense, and it must be open source. It's a matter of security as well as just having a fair voting count. And the top election system solution technologist language in the Secure Elections Act, it was co-sponsored by Senator Kamala Harris, is it's kind of deficient in, you know, because it doesn't address the software code issues. It merely calls for a paper ballot, and that doesn't help with security. So NASA and the Department of Defense, as well as the grand majority of the world's supercomputers, utilize public software. So, and you know, James Woolsey, the former head of the Central Intelligence Agency, is hip to all this. And remember, the Central Intelligence Agency, we've come full circle because they were the ones that were engineering society and the hippies and, you know, victimized hippies and black people in the 60s. So that now we've come full circle, and now they're defending, they're going to save America, when before they sabotaged a whole entire generation of people. Black, white, Mexican, no matter who you were, you got sabotaged back in the 60s. And the CIA were behind it. So, you know, Brent Turner told me all about that. Well, told me a few things about it. And so Brent Turner, he's the secretary of the National Association of Voting Officials and the California Association of Voting Voting Officials. So they have the national one, so that the people in the other states don't get mad because of, they don't even like the word California. Sometimes to some people that's a dirty word. So the California's, there's two websites, CAVO and NAVO. So you see here, right here, see right here, CAVO and NAVO. So it's two websites, and they both, so check them both out. Now, okay, we have a couple minutes. Tell the mayor, this is how we help to get our current voting system. In December 18th it ends, so we have to get a new one. So tell the mayor and the Board of Supervisors to that you support open source voting, and ask them to fully fund San Francisco's open source voting project. And you can follow and retweet SF Open Voting on Twitter. And you can keep tabs on the progress by attending San Francisco Elections Commission meetings on the third Wednesday of each month at 6 p.m., room 408 of San Francisco City Hall. And spread the word. Those meetings you can give public comment and urge them to adopt these systems. And there's also, let's see, openvoting.org. That's a website. sfopenvoting.org. And also, so check us out in May. We'll have Brent Turner will be on the show. And okay, so Axis of Love is meeting. Here's some announcements. Axis of Love is meeting at 1 p.m. at the Street Food Court with Amy Farrow Weiss, the mayoral candidate, to talk about cannabis with the other industry people. They're going to be there. We need to show up in force to stand up for the little people that get shoved around by these industry people that want to charge too much money for cannabis. And this is at the Street Food Court, is by Costco. So it's right across the street from Costco. So please check them out. It'll be at 1 p.m. April the 8th. So that'd be good. I'd like to see you there. and you can ask them questions, I think. So I filmed the mayoral debate, so that's going to be on a future show. And I like Amy all right, but I don't see that she's really got a chance of being the next mayor, but I could be wrong. I don't think so. So I want to thank you for watching, and we've got Frank, Psychic Frank's Mystery School coming on next Thursday at 5 p.m. this channel, so check him out. And I'll see you April 18th.
Someone's got the dirt at their fingertips, treated like some vile. Someone with the access and the power leads to an end of journey. Secrets you can't hide, fortified, or so you're thinking. One step, and your world comes crashing downwards. Hey, hey, who's watching? Hey, hey, who's watching? Your defenses have come under fire. Hey, hey, who's watching? Hey, hey, who's watching? Your defenses have been nullified. Silent soldiers of a secret war, locked in battle. Silent soldiers of a secret war, locked in battle. Silent soldiers of a secret war, locked in battle. Sacred, sacred war.
Play you. How did you get up here? Show yourself. That is unnecessary, but never fear.